Cityline. It's our hobby show, and Teri Hart and I are trading favorites. You are going to talk about the films that you love. I'm going to talk about the books that I love, the special stories that take us to our happy place. The only thing I think of when I think of this book is joy and hope and innocence and beauty. Then Christian Dare is bonkers for buttons, and we're making our own.
Have you ever made a button?
I've never made a button. I used to wear Duran Duran buttons in the 80s and stuff. Do you remember that? Yeah. Anytime tools are involved, it's safety first.
So
what,
when you're working with heavy equipment, you need to wear safety glasses.
And later, the benefits of getting crafty.
Yarn and thread crafts actually are really good for your brain. They increase dopamine, they reduce stress.
It's Cityline with Tracy Moore.
It's going to be a slow walk today. Hi. So good to see everyone. Have a seat. Thank you for coming. Thanks for coming. Do you see how slowly I walked out? It's the shoes. If anybody wants to try these on, they're hard to walk in, okay? Thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to Cityline. Do you have a hobby? Do you guys have hobbies? Okay, good. Something you can't wait to do after a long day. I think they're great to have. And today we are putting the spotlight on hobbies. From crafting to DIYs, we hope to inspire you. So first up, my favorite hobby with one of my favorite people. It's Teri Hart, everyone. You can run in yours.
I mean, I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a little trot.
I have much smaller space to go than you.
That was a long walk.
I've got like 6 steps in these, and that's it.
Yeah, you know what? It's not even that. It's that they're like a tiny bit big, and they're also a little slippery on the bottom. But anyways, the look is nice, right? Do you like it?
You know, also the other thing is your feet grow. Why didn't anybody tell me that?
They just keep going.
They just keep going, and they get wider.
Right.
So anyway,
Anyways, the bottom line is we are getting to do something pretty cool because you are going to talk about the films that you love. I'm going to talk about the books that I love, and you kind of have like we're matching energies in terms of the vibe, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love talking about books with you because you are such a voracious reader. You know so much about books, and I wish that I loved reading as much as you do. But I love movies so much.
Yes.
Like that to me is, I'm a slow reader.
Yeah, and that's okay.
And so to me, it's like I have to set aside a different amount of time.
Yeah.
So I know some of your favorite books.
Yes.
And I'm like, I've got some movies that are not adaptations. We did not go the adaptation
We didn't go
route.
that way because I don't watch a lot of the adaptations, so
And
that wasn't going to work. Yeah.
And I get that.
Let the book be the book. That's me. I'm sort of old school like that. So I'm very excited to tell you about my very first one.
Okay.
It is Lullabies for Little Criminals by Heather O'Neill. Okay. I am a Heather O'Neill stan. She is one of my favorite Canadian writers of all time. If she's written it, I've read it. And this is the very first Heather O'Neill book I ever read. So let me just give you a sense. She's very good at writing about the gritty underbelly of Montreal. It always takes place in Quebec. It's usually in Montreal, and it's always gritty. The main character in this book is a girl named Baby. She's 13 years old. Her father is a heroin addict, and the neighborhood pimp is like trying to scope her out. She is on the precipice of such a scary time in her life. It sounds so sad and so dire. The only thing I think of when I think of this book is joy and hope and innocence and beauty. So Heather O'Neill does an amazing job of like juxtaposing this gritty, scary sort of environment with hope and love and beauty. And that's what I come away with. She does it in all of her books, but this one was the first, and it's the one that will stay with me forever. I suggest this book to everyone, Lullabies for Little Criminals by Heather O'Neill. It's a good one.
Okay, so
You're like, I see you.
I see you, and I'm going to meet you at sad and possibly dire, but somehow still hopeful and somehow having a conversation. So Canadian actress Sarah Gadon is actually making her directorial debut adapting Lullabies for Little Criminals.
That's so good.
So, yeah, she's spectacular.
Yeah.
So I went down a Sarah Gadon rabbit hole, and I'm choosing All My Puny Little Sorrows.
Oh my gosh, All My Puny Sorrows.
All My Puny
Miriam
Sorrows.
Taves.
Miriam Taves.
I love that book.
Yes.
It is sad.
It is sad. So it's
Yeah.
a story of two sisters, Sarah Gadden and Alison Hill.
Yeah.
One of them is leading a life that's kind of sad and dealing with divorce and dealing with heartbreak. And the
Yeah.
other is a world-renowned musician who is dealing with horrifying depression.
Yes.
And it is what these two sisters do, and this is sad. This
Yeah.
is like bring your tissues sad.
Yeah, yeah.
But I thought
It works.
kind of is in the world
Yeah.
of what you were talking about with the Heather O'Neill book, and I love the fact that Sarah Gadden is adapting this book, so we can all look for that
That's
adaptation.
so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's all full circle.
Full circle.
But yeah, no, Miriam Taves is a really, really good one.
And I love Canadian filmmakers adapting Canadian books.
Me too.
Yeah.
There's something really special about it. So let's talk about Canadian books. My next pick is 15 Dogs by Andre Alexis. First of all, Andre Alexis. Like when it comes to brilliant writers in this country, I don't know if anyone tops this dude. Two gods walk into the wheat sheaf at King and Bathurst. This is literally how this book starts. Anyone who lives in Toronto knows the wheat sheaf. It's like the oldest bar in the city. It's Hermes and Apollo. And they're in the bar, they're drinking beer, and they're bored. And so they're looking around and they're like, oh my gosh, humans are so silly, are they not? So one of them decides, let's give a little bet. I bet you $1 million animals would be more happy if they had human attributes. And the other one says, no, I bet you animals would be more sad if they had human attributes. And they're like, all right, let's see who's right. So they stroll down the street to Shaw, and there's a veterinary clinic, and they go into the back to the kennel, and there's 15 dogs. And they give them anthropomorphic skills. They give them the ability to think like a human. And what happens after that is just this incredible microcosm of human behavior. It takes place from Hyde Park all the way to the beach. These dogs all of a sudden start grappling with their internal violence. They understand condescension and being patronized by their owners. They feel guilty about things. They have all these existential crises. And so you see the tale all through the streets of Toronto, and I love reading. I'm from Toronto, I'm sorry I keep mentioning it, but I really love reading about books that take place here. This is one that everyone really needs to read.
Okay,
Genius.
So
what do you got?
Where I went here, so that was published in 2015, and I went for a movie that was made in 2014. So grappling with the whole idea of sentient beings and what it means to have consciousness. Yeah. Mine is Ex Machina. And it doesn't deal with dogs, but it deals with robots. And it gave us Alicia Vikander, who has gone on to incredible things. Yeah. And it really is the idea around what you loved about 15 Dogs, is the idea of consciousness. Is being human all it's cracked up to be? Or are we saddled with some things that we could learn differently when we give those kind of thoughts and emotions to something that we don't think has them, like dogs, like a robot? And ultimately, here we are in 2024, all we're talking about is AI. And this is kind of what Andre was talking about with 15 Dogs, the idea of giving that to somebody else, and certainly that's what they're talking about in Ex Machina. So that's where I went for that one.
Well played, my girl.
Thanks,
well
pal.
played. Okay, next up, and I know we're running out of time. I can hear you talking off camera. So can I do another book? Okay, thank you. Okay, this one is of every single one I'm into, and I know you've read this one as well. This is Sula by Toni Morrison. Oh my gosh, this is my original copy. My notes are still in there from the 90s. Okay, I started teaching myself about Black history because there was none of it in my curriculum. And so I would say late teens, early 20s, I started reading sort of the African-American canon. And this book is about two best friends that are raised very differently. They're in a small town in Ohio. The white folks in the neighborhood are trying to gentrify it. They're going to turn it into a golf course. None of this mattered to me. What mattered to me is that Nell and Sula take such different paths. Nell, raised under respectability politics, follows the rules in her family. Sula follows her own rules.
Who did you identify with?
I wanted to be Sula. And she's controversial. She does very controversial things. She's not likable. And I liked the way that she stood up for who she was throughout this book, and she thrived and worked on her own rules. An incredible book. I think all young women should read this book.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so where I went with this is female friendship.
Yeah.
Around the same time, 1920s, this is a movie called Passing. It stars, do you remember this one? It was only a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Ruth Negga and Tessa Thompson star
Love her.
as two women, one who is passing as white.
Yes.
And the other who is married to a black doctor.
Yeah.
There are catastrophic things that happen in both of their lives because of their decisions. It deals with racism, it deals with colorism, and it deals with female friendships and the choices they make and how it impacts their lives, even though they still love each other, and how they question each other. It's spectacular. Both of those actresses deserved way more than they got for that movie.
Yeah.
Watch Passing.
I'll tell you this right now, in this discussion alone, you can see it. There is so much to be mined from film, as much as there is to be mined from books. Find your story and find your adventure and dive in. I love what you did there. Thank you, Ter. Really good. Okay, since we're talking about hobbies, give some love to Ter. She's so smart. We're talking about hobbies. So the latest addition to the Lego Super Mario theme for adults is a fun recreation of the iconic piranha plant from the Super Mario video games. Built from over 500 pieces, it allows you to build from the bottom up. So the piranha plant emerges as if it's growing out of the pipe. Valued at $80, you're all taking one home. That's what that was all about. Take one home and enjoy. Let's go to break. More coming up. Stay with us. Coming up, making personalized custom buttons.
How much would you pay me for an exclusive Tracy Moore collection?
Button up, Buttercup. Our next hobby comes from one of our very fashionable experts. It's Christian Dare, everyone. We've talked about a few of your collections on the show before because you've got beautiful shoes, you've got gorgeous jackets, but this one I did not know. You collect the things on your jacket.
Buttons.
You're a button collector.
Yeah, like buttons you add on, not buttons that are already on your shirt.
Right.
Different story. I don't know what I would do with those.
Buttons. Well, that's what I was thinking actually when I was thinking about the segment. I'm like, he collects the buttons that are on the jacket? No.
Yeah.
You collect the beautiful buttons that you can put on. And how did that all start?
So I think it started years ago. A friend of mine was at a button making party, which I didn't know existed.
Okay.
Art school kids.
Right.
That's why. And they actually gifted me this Mary Kate button because I was Mary Kate and he was Ashley.
Yeah.
A Filipino Ashley. That's interesting. And then after that, I just started seeing them as like great accessories to update your jacket. So all my jackets are already pre-styled with buttons on them.
Oh my gosh, the poodle.
So the poodle, because I grew up with poodles, I love standard poodles.
So cute.
This one I kind of call my like bad ladies, powerful women jacket.
Oh yeah, I see a Whitney, Ruth Bader.
Beyonce. Little RuPaul sneaks in there because we love a good Ru moment. And then also you can just, it's a great way to add fun to a jacket. So like these are love buttons. They're from an artist in Vancouver that you hand them out. So what's great is like you just start layering them and it actually transforms your outfit easily.
Yeah.
Adds that pop of color. And I actually have love buttons for everybody here. Lots of fun.
Oh, I can feel the love. He's gonna give you some love.
But if you don't want to display your buttons on your jackets or your pins, what's funny is, did you know before I even met my partner, he was collecting buttons?
He's a button guy too?
It's very strange.
You were meant to be.
It's
and how did you even learn that about each other? It's like, you collect buttons too?
I know, it was so funny too. And literally, I was also gonna say, what's even stranger is if I was supposed to be a girl, my name was supposed to be Morgan, and his last name is Morgan, so I'd be Morgan Morgan.
I feel like you could
or
make
Morgan
that
Squared.
Morgan Squared. I like Morgan
So
Morgan.
literally, he traveled the world and collected Hard Rock Cafe pins.
Yeah.
Like thousands of them. Like, it's scary.
Okay.
He's like, can we have a giant display case? I was absolutely not.
Okay.
Like, there's no way we're doing all that. But I came up with a fun idea, so I actually picked up some embroidery hoops.
Yeah.
And what you do is you cut out a piece of foam core in it.
Okay.
So really easy. You're gonna wrap this in any color fabric. You can see here I did like a sort of like wine-colored velvet.
It's beautiful.
Stick this guy, the other piece on, tighten it. You can then hang it, and then you can put all your buttons on there.
So you've got all of them, and you just like put them in so that they stick.
Yeah, you stick them in, and that's the foam core helps stick them in
Yeah.
versus just fabric. And yeah, we put them all over our New Orleans house. We put them in groupings of different cities, so it feels like a more interesting installation.
Very cool, and there we have them. Some of the displays that you have in your house.
Yeah, see, so many.
You found a nice way to do it. I love that. So you're going to probably need to make more of those because we're going to make buttons.
We're going to make buttons.
Because I don't know how easy it is.
Have you ever made a button?
I've never made a button. I used to wear Duran Duran buttons in the 80s and stuff. Do you remember that? Yeah.
So do you remember?
Madonna.
I've got a couple crafting rules.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember one of
Boy
them?
George, is that what you said? Yeah, Boy George. Sorry, continue.
One of my crafting rules is always safety first, because we're safety girls.
Yes.
So
What, does
when
this
you're
get
working
dangerous?
with
Oh, thank
heavy
you.
equipment, you need to wear safety glasses.
I didn't see anything.
So what's great about making buttons is it's actually not a safety issue, so we don't have to wear these. But I do
almost
have one
want to.
rule. When it's not a safety issue, I have rules in my house when you're crafting is you always have to have snacks.
A bucket of chicken?
No.
Okay.
And cocktails.
Oh my gosh.
Because you need to craft and cocktail.
Okay.
No, it's actually a bucket of potato chips.
I'm into that.
Maybe I shouldn't craft and cocktail.
You know what? It's a party now.
It is a party. Luckily, nothing's damaged. So what is
that's
easy about
delicious.
this? Have some snacks.
I'll have that.
So the great thing about the button maker is you literally can just go through any of your magazines or your art books, your kids' photos, almost anything, pull it out of the book, and then the button maker actually comes with this little tool that cuts the shape.
Nice.
So you literally just put it on and you trace it around, and you can adjust based on your shape, and it will cut out these beautiful circles for you.
Oh, that's nice.
So super easy.
Okay, so if we have, so we've picked this picture we're going to use.
Yep.
Now what do you do?
So with my button set, I actually got it on Amazon, so it's easy.
And did it come with all this stuff?
It actually came with all the pieces you need.
Oh, that's
You probably
cool.
could make buttons forever. Like, I think I might either open a Etsy button sweatshop. If anyone wants to help out, I'm hiring. So you take, first of all, this sort of metal backing. There's two in here, and I've got old eyes, so I can't see both of them. There we go. Put it on here. You put your paper on top.
Okay.
Then there's a little plastic coating, which you probably can't see.
Yep, but that'll be the cover.
That's the cover to collect it. We slide her over.
Yeah.
It really wasn't that hard, actually.
Okay.
And then you take a backing, stick it on this side, slide her back over.
This machine does everything.
Look, it's disappeared, Trace.
Oh my gosh.
Where did she go?
Where did it go?
Magic, magic, magic. Slide it back over. Ta-da!
That is so cool. How much are you going to charge?
I don't know, how much would you pay me for a button?
I would pay you a bit of money. Like, I mean, the fact that you can actually customize these.
You can customize them. It's lots of fun. And what's interesting with these machines is you can actually adjust the different sort of settings. So you can do bigger buttons, smaller buttons.
Yeah.
So speaking of charging, how much would you pay me for an exclusive Tracy Moore collection?
Oh! You're going to make me cry.
Look at all these.
Babies.
A little Aussie.
Oh, I love how
But
he
yeah, so
always
you
makes
could literally
it.
go
There
through
he
any
is.
sort of your photos at home.
What a
anything of at
distinguished
home.
gentleman that dog is. Look at
Right?
him. So cute.
So it's great. You literally could add them on your bags. You could add them on your backpacks.
Will
on
it
your
be
outfits.
weird if I wear these?
It might be weird if you wear your own, but probably not weird if you wear Aussie.
Right. Ozzy and the baby, maybe. That is so fun. Thanks,
Yeah, super,
Christian.
super easy to do.
You brought drinks, you brought snacks, my face that I can wear. You're
buttons.
golden, my friend. Let's go to break. We got more coming up. Coming up, there's no time like the present to take up a new hobby.
If you want to start something today that is the cheapest and fastest to learn, it's plastic.
Welcome back, everyone. There's no way we were going to have a hobby show without the crafty queen herself, April Kalloo, everyone. I mean, come on. She produces. She's an expert. She does it all. So we know that your passion, we've talked about your passion on the show before, but you have many passions. You have many hobbies because you have so much time. Mother of two, job, side hustle, but there's even more crafts you like to do.
That's
What's
the question.
sleep?
I don't even sleep.
Who needs it?
Who needs it? I don't. Crochet is my first love, but everything you see on this table, Tracy, I can do, and I have taught myself how to do every single thing on this table. And I know that that sounds like a lot, but I'm here to tell you that it's not, because there are so many all-in-one craft kits out there that you can get. So you can wake up one day and you can just say, I want to start a hobby. You can walk into any store, not even just craft stores. There are so many stores in general, like dollar stores everywhere that have these all-in-one craft kits. You don't have to walk in with a list and be like, I need this, I need that, I need this. You just walk in, everything's in the kit for you, and you can start your hobby.
Which is great. I think a lot of us learned that during the pandemic, but we might have just ditched them. It's time to pick that stuff back up because it's good for your mental health.
It is, and I was gonna say, thanks for mentioning the pandemic, because yarn and thread crafts actually are really good for your brain. They increase dopamine, they reduce stress, they boost your self-esteem because you're accomplishing projects. They also instantly calm and relax you because of their like meditative, like they're very repetitive with what you're doing with your hands. So they instantly calm you. It's a very addictive feeling. I'm completely addicted to that.
I love it, but that's a good feeling to be addicted to.
It's so good.
Right?
It's so good.
Okay, so let's start with your first craft there.
So I combined embroidery and cross stitch.
Okay.
So embroidery, they are pretty similar, but embroidery, they have the same embroidery hoop. They use needle, they use thread. You can use like a linen material. I actually used a dress that I didn't like anymore, and I used this one. This is my very first, these cacti over here is my very first embroidery ever.
You did well.
I see 1,000 imperfections, but that's me because I'm a perfectionist.
So good.
This took me just a couple hours, but I mean, it's just something you can pick up and do. The difference with cross stitch is that the pictures are a little more boxier. They're like pixelated, so you can't do like round curves in this like pizza and this avocado that you see. That's really the main difference. And the material that you use for cross stitch is called Aida, or even weave linen. So that is just like evenly weaved material. And if you look a close up at this material here, you'll see all these little boxes for cross stitching. And really how you cross stitch is you're adding an X in every single box to create the picture.
That's why it's a cross stitch.
That's why it's a cross stitch, exactly. So that's really all you do. You're just following the pattern. They tell you where to put the colors. And before I talk about any other hobbies here, if you want to start something today that is the cheapest and fastest to learn, it's cross stitch.
Well, that's what you need. So the Joy cross stitch kit, everyone is going to get one in the audience. So go start today. Yes, Joy. Choose Joy. Okay, what else do we got? Is this like, are we going to talk about your love?
I had
the real
to
love
talk
of your
about
life?
crochet. Yes, I want to influence everyone to crochet. So I follow one of these makers online, and she is so lovely. She is Canadian. She's an entrepreneur. Her name is Emily. She's from Quebec. She creates these boxes that can give you all the tools that you need to crochet.
Love that.
So everything you need, from yarn to hooks, measuring tape, and then you get access to a members only section on her website where she will mentor you, give you patterns, give you video, tutorials, all the things for you to learn how to crochet from the bottom up.
That's amazing.
It's great.
So
Like,
you get support.
You get support. Like you can absolutely just go online and Google how to crochet. Sure. But if you want someone to help you, I think this is a great way to start, just so that you can kind of get used to it.
That's beautiful.
Like. Yeah.
Okay, so get one of those kits if you're looking to start something. Let's talk about these, I don't know, humongous needles.
Humongous, ginormous
They're
needles.
huge.
Nobody bothers me when I take these on the subway, by the way.
I guess not.
I'm knitting, and everyone's like, no, don't talk to her.
Stay away from her.
Stay away from her. Okay, so We Are Knitters has a categorized some kits called My First Project Kits.
Oh, cool.
So if you have zero knitting experience and you want to just knit today, they are perfect because you can learn very easy stitches and easy projects. So this one is a snood, which is like a cowl. Very easy.
That's what they call them?
And if you want, a snood. If you want to get a little ambitious, I did this over the weekend. You can totally do it, okay?
Only April.
It is a cardigan.
Only April.
Look at this cute cardigan, everyone.
That is so good.
If anybody knows knit stitches, I don't know if anyone does, but this is the garter stitch, the easiest knit stitch, and it's just 5 panels, no shaping, and it is a cardigan, and it is a beginner kit.
I love that stitch because it looks big and beautiful and nubby. You can make a blanket a throw. That is so good.
So
I can't believe
easy.
she makes a cardigan. Like on her train ride in. It's amazing. Okay, next up, do we go to these? Okay, so let's get the kids, the tweens, the teens, everybody involved.
So you've already mentioned I'm a mom. I have a 10 and an 8-year-old.
They're so cute.
Daughters, and they see their mom crafting constantly. So they are really influenced, and they really want to learn all the things. So Toys R Us has really amazing kits that you can get that are very crystal clear in instructions. I can pass them these kits and I can just go do laundry or go make a sweater.
Oh, nice.
Right? Or go do something else that I want to do.
Yeah, go make some socks.
Yeah. And I can leave them alone and they can be personalized. They can choose what they want to do. So they have a string art. They have sew animals.
Nice.
Really cute beginner kits for kids to get them creative and get them off the screens.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We actually are going to gift the audience string art. So everyone in the audience is going to get these. Give them to your kids or use them for yourself. The string art kit. Okay, can we talk about this one? This is like, you love this one. It's very satisfying.
I left this one for last because I cannot explain it. If anyone is having a day, you need to get a punch needle kit because you are going to be stabbing and punching this fabric and you are going to love it.
Let loose. Punch it and
I'm
stab
screaming.
it.
It's so amazing. Okay, so this is the final product of this one. This one's from Michaels.
Okay.
The one thing I want to say is some of the kits and punch needle I noticed don't have the punch needle in it.
Okay.
Okay, so just make sure you read the back so it says sold separately, but once you have one punch needle, you don't need 100, so you just need one.
Right.
And they're very, very inexpensive.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to show because I want you to do this. It is so fun. You're literally just puncturing the fabric, pulling it back up, keep it really close to the fabric again, and puncture it again, and just keep going.
Okay.
Just like that. You're gonna do it right now. It's so satisfying. Tell me how much you love it. Go.
Okay, I love it so much.
Yep.
I haven't even done one yet.
Look how good you are.
Oh my God, I love it so much. I ruined it. Did I ruin it?
I want to show something quickly before we go because I know we have to leave. So just say you're like, oh, I made a mistake.
Oh no, I made a mistake.
You're gonna pull it out.
Oh.
And you're actually just gonna run your finger underneath and it brings the fabric right back to where it was.
Oh, that's so good.
Yes.
Apes, this is really good. I think you want to get your hands on this stuff. And of course, if you are looking for any of these items on this table right now, we put a QR code on the screen. You scan it with your phone and then you can shop the show because this is going to ease your mind and that's something we could all use more of. Apes, thank you for that. Such a genius. Let's go to break. More coming up, everyone. Stay with us. Coming up, Pay Chen shares her passion for collecting cookbooks.
And the recipes, I have to tell you, they're extremely basic. Like, I feel like a lot of steps are missing because these days recipes can be like 3 pages long. And some of this is like, put lard in, mix, and cook. And it's like, oh, okay, I'll just figure that out later.
Welcome back. It is all about hobbies on the show today. And now we're going to talk about cookbooks because they are much more than just collections of recipes. They're windows into different culinary worlds and treasured possessions that bring joy to countless people around the globe. It also brings a lot of joy to our very own Pay Chen, who's been collecting them for decades, years. I mean, you're not like I'm 90.
No, I'm 87. So I've been collecting them for 8 decades.
She's been collecting them for a while. So tell me about your love for cookbooks. Like, how did this all start?
You know, I did not love cookbooks as a child. I don't have memories of them being in our house at all. It really started, I would say, my very early 20s when I was finishing university. And suddenly I was on my own. I had no money. So it wasn't like I could enjoy eating out. I had to cook for myself. And I just didn't have the skills whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I really, like, my mom's a fabulous cook, but she didn't grow up cooking either. Like, when my parents immigrated to Canada, she had to kind of learn how to cook. She also had to learn how to adapt to local ingredients and also the ingredients that she couldn't find that she was looking for and wanted. And something that I found only very recently was a stack of these lined notebooks of my mom's from when she was much younger. I don't know if they started in her teens or if it was in her 20s, perhaps.
Okay.
But she basically, in magazines or let's say brochures, she would cut out recipes. She would cut out the photos perfectly. She would glue them together. She'd make little notes. And this is a stack of books. Basically, she made her own cookbooks.
Oh my goodness.
She even had an index. She had like a table of contents. So she actually categorized them all. And it's fascinating to me that she was doing this, you know, gluing little photos together, cutting the recipes. And when I asked her about it recently when I found them, she said, well, cookbooks were expensive, you know? So wherever she could find little recipes, she kept them for herself.
I don't know, you need to like put that in a safe, in a fire safe, because that is your family history.
Yes.
Like, what a beautiful thing to have from your mom.
Yeah, and honestly, like, there's some beautiful dishes in her homemade cookbooks that I don't recall ever eating, so I'm not sure. I don't think she actually made them all.
Did you want to try making
like a little bit aspirational, perhaps, like a lot of cookbooks are, to be honest.
Right.
And then I also found in my parents' house just a couple of years ago, there's 3 volumes to these books. So this is Pei Mei's Chinese cookbook. And what's great is that it's written in Chinese and English. So the recipes were actually translated by the author herself. So she was a very well-known Taiwanese cookbook author, born in 1931. She passed away in 2004. She has over 30 cookbooks on Chinese cuisine. For over 40 years, she hosted cooking shows on Taiwanese television. She also taught cooking classes. And of course, her audience was mostly housewives, right? In the beginning, because you're looking at the early 60s. And then she also taught to the wives of American military officials who were stationed in Taiwan. Oh my gosh, and so that's cool. Where, you know, so she was fluent in several languages. And just books like this I find so interesting, and also like a really great reflection of how kind of early Chinese cuisine may have been translated into English for like a North American and Western palate as well. And the recipes, I have to tell you, they're extremely basic. Like I feel like a lot of steps are missing, because these days recipes can be like 3 pages long. And some of this is like, put lard in, mix, and cook. And it's like, oh, okay, I'll just figure that out later.
You got 3 steps, right? Do you have a memory of your very first cookbook?
I do. So again, through university, it was like, you know, you eat a lot of pasta, canned soup, you know, whatever was easy. And I remember, because I used to get the Toronto Star. My roommates and I, we shared a subscription to the newspaper.
That's amazing.
And there was always a great food section. I remember someone writing a review about cookbooks. Yeah. And it was like The Joy of Cooking. I think had come out with like a newer edition in the late 90s. Yeah. And I live near the Eaton Center. Yes. And so Eaton's had this Joy of Cooking. This is my first cookbook, and it was $40. And for me as a student, it was too expensive. I waited until there was a 25% off sale.
Yes, you did.
And I went in there and I bought it for $30. And The Joy of Cooking, there's been a newer edition since then, but like it really is such a great Bible for someone who really had no cooking knowledge or ability. I was a little disappointed when I realized there weren't a lot of photos in it when I bought the book, but I still have it to this day, and it's a great reference.
That's amazing, and everybody needs that, right? And I love that all the little Post-its are still in there for you.
I don't even know what I marked off, but they're there.
You've got a bunch of thrifted books that you've also gotten, so this is your passion. You'll go around collecting them.
Here's the thing, is like I love going to yard sales, and there'll be all these like books, and for whatever reason, they're all like 20 pounds each. Like, you know, this one is like almost 1,500 pages. Whoa. And they're cheap, so it's like, it's $2. And you're like, I got 20 bucks, I'm gonna buy a whole collection. This one, The American Woman's Cookbook, this was first published in 1938. It was a staple in American kitchens, over 4,000 recipes. It's just really a great reflection on the time as well. So I love a little bit of that cultural, culinary history. Miss Beaton's book of cookery and household management. It's a cookbook. It has tips on cleaning, laundry, home maintenance, first aid, how to run a household.
These are I need to read that one.
They're very much targeted towards housewives, as you can imagine, right?
Yeah, well, now we got to work and run the house.
Exactly.
So like, turn to page 30 so I can see what I'm doing wrong.
And these are hefty, like they're really hefty books, and they're just so comprehensive, and it's really interesting to read some of the things, and also to look at some of the recipes, and you're like, well, I can see why that fell out of fashion.
A pickle and a piece of cheese.
Yeah,
okay,
it's in there. You know that recipe.
Sounds very 50s. Okay, talk to me about these other cute books that you've gathered
for us. All of these books are from my home collection, of which I have many, and I want to show you some of my favorites. So these two I absolutely love. They're just like I've actually traveled with this book to visit my niece and nephew because it's easy. Cookies, cakes. Julie Van Rosendahl, she's a Canadian cookbook author and a food writer based in Calgary. She self-published these books with very like homey and very easy to make recipes. Other ones I love, Jenny's Ice Cream. This is actually my favorite ice cream book. It has amazing recipes, easy to do. You can pick up very inexpensive ice cream makers. You don't need to spend over $100. You can get them at a lot of those secondhand thrift stores for like $10 because people have gotten rid of them. Yeah. And just like some of my other favorites, like, you know, on butchery. Peter Sanigan is a Toronto butcher. He did a great book on how to save money, on like knowing what cuts to buy, how to cook them. And a really wonderful selection. Anna Olson is a well-known Canadian pastry chef. She taught me how to bake. That's what I say, because I watched her on TV, and then I started with her recipes first. And this is just really kind of like my little collection of stories.
Yeah, she's like one of the best. So it's amazing you can bring that talent right into your house with a book. Hey, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So good. Let's go to break. We got more coming up. Stay with us. Coming up, I'm in too deep with a DIY project.
I'm gonna get you to build this whole one.
Do we have time? Oh my gosh, we have time? You should have lied. embracing DIY as a hobby has some amazing benefits, from fostering creativity to promoting sustainability. So whether you're a seasoned crafter or a beginner enthusiast, there's always something new to explore in the world of DIY. And we've got Mary Tsegaye here to walk us through it. It's all about the hobbies.
Yes.
And we know that you love to do it yourself. You've got this whole gamut of power tools. Like, when did you start with the DIYing?
Matt, I think I've always loved creating things. I've always loved looking at how things are made and kind of trying to figure out how to make it. When I moved out to my first place on my own, I bought popsicle sticks and made a shelf out of popsicle sticks and a hot glue gun. So you don't need tools to start. I always say start small, start with what you have and build your way up. My next big project, I tried to build a cabinet with tools that I had never used before, and I failed.
Okay.
But I took a step back. I started learning some smaller skills, watched some videos, reached out for advice, and then I started building my arsenal of tools, and now I'm obsessed.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
So this is very cool, and this isn't all you have.
No, this is
You've got
probably
more.
a fraction of what I have.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so why don't I guess what is what?
You're gonna
You want me
guess.
to tell
We're gonna
you what's
start on
what?
this end. I'm gonna
Okay.
have you guess what it is.
All right.
And then I'll give you a little brief of what it's used for.
Audience, feel free to chime in. Nail gun!
Yay.
Obviously. It's a nail gun, right?
It's a nail gun.
Okay.
So this is a brad nailer. It's
Okay.
for like crafts. It leaves a smaller hole when you when you put the nail in. So
Right.
it's covered easily. It's very aesthetic. Yeah.
Okay, good. I feel like I've used one before on the show, but would I recognize one? No. Okay, this is obviously a drill.
Yes. Can you tell the difference between these two, though?
Well, this is a smaller one.
It is. It is. This is actually an impact driver, which means it just has a bit more power. So I recommend this to any beginner DIYer if you're doing projects for the first time. If you just want household tools, this is a great option.
Okay.
But if you're going to be a DIYer, you need an impact driver.
So this one's more powerful.
It's more powerful, and it's a
Okay.
really good tool in your arsenal.
Power packed into that
Yeah.
little guy. Okay, so this is a saw.
Yeah.
And it's a circle saw.
Yes. I will give you that one, Tracy.
Yes. Is that what it's called?
It's a circular saw.
Circular saw.
Yes. So I always say, in your arsenal of tools, if you're going to take on DIY, you need something to cut. There's so many different kinds of cutting tools. There's a table saw, there's a circular saw, or a miter saw. I love my miter saw, to be honest. It's a little big, but a circular saw, it's handy. You can take it anywhere. It's portable. It's perfect option.
And the miter saw does like the nice cut on the bias, right?
Exactly.
Okay, and this one is finally a router. A router?
Yes, it's a router.
What does that do?
So it just cuts like really fancy edges and grooves around pieces of wood. If you're building a table with a nice edge around it, that's what you use.
All right, thanks. And my hearing, guys, you got to be louder. If we're gonna fake that I know stuff. Okay, so we know all the tools. They're fantastic. They do great things. Now you're gonna show us how to do some simple DIYs, and we're gonna start with those beautiful lanterns. I have those outside my house. I can't remember how much they were, but I'm sure they were way more expensive than what it cost to make it.
I will tell you, I made this for a really affordable price.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm gonna get you to do some work.
Beautiful. Okay.
How comfortable do you feel with using tools?
I have zero comfort, but I'll do it anyways.
Perfect, that's perfect. So safety first, always. We're gonna put our safety glasses on.
Okay.
Right?
These ones don't have googly eyes.
I've already built one side of the lantern. I'm gonna get you to do the other side.
Nice.
Okay, so we're just gonna lay the wood on. You're gonna put some wood glue, right?
Okay.
We're gonna add a little dab of glue on each part before we nail.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna have you pick up the nail gun.
Okay.
It has a trigger on the bottom.
Okay.
So you're gonna put the nozzle right in the center, push it all the way down first, and then pull the trigger. Woo! Nice! Awesome! And essentially, you'll build the base using glue and nails. That's pretty much what you're gonna do.
So that's it. You put those four sides together?
Yep.
And one on the top?
And then one on the top.
And you painted it?
And then you paint it.
That's beautiful.
To make it have a really nice finish, I always recommend getting some wood filler.
Yeah.
Right? So all these seams that you see, all these little holes from the nails,
right.
You just get some wood filler and you fill those holes, sand it down, and then it gives you a nice clean surface to paint.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I can see how this can get addictive.
It's very
You're like,
addictive.
what else can I build? Have you built a bed yet?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! You have to follow her Instagram.
I
She's
actually
doing a whole
built
thing
a
in your
Murphy bed.
apartment. Good for you.
I built a Murphy bed. It was one of my first big projects.
That's huge.
It is
like,
huge.
Literally, that's amazing. Okay, so we have this beautiful towel rack over here, which I think is so perfect. What's nice about customizing it, you make it for your towels, you make it the height and the that you need for your space.
That is one thing I love about DIY so much. You can buy stuff in the store, but it very rarely fits the exact size that you want, the color aesthetic that you want. It's hard to get all of that in one at a price point that makes sense for you.
Absolutely.
This way you can make it whatever size you want, whatever color you want.
Yeah.
And it fits your style.
Okay, and so we're using the same principles?
Same principles.
Yeah.
You add a dab of glue. We're going to put our safety goggles on.
Okay.
Right? And then you just hold the wood pieces together. You're going to grab the nail gun.
Am I using my favorite tool? Because I actually used it successfully.
Right in the center, you're going to push down first and then hit the trigger. Perfect.
Got it.
And then you're going to do that right here.
Awesome.
Right? I'm going to get you to build this whole one.
Do we have time? 1 minute. Oh my gosh, we have time? You should have lied. Guys, I'm unhinged. Okay. Yeah!
Now, I always recommend,
Yeah.
when installing something like this that's going to hold something heavy, you want to screw it into the wall.
Right.
We're not going to nail this into the wall. You're going to screw it into the wall so it gives you
Okay.
some strength and support.
Yeah.
If you don't have studs in the wall, like where you're going to hang it, then use some anchors and you should be fine.
Okay, beautiful. And you stained it and made it look gorgeous. And this way you can match whatever you need to match in your space.
Exactly.
Well done, Mary. I'm so impressed. It's time for a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Just what you need.
This checks all of the boxes.
Cityline's got just what you need.
I've got je ne sais quoi.
Escape with Cityline.
This looks way too healthy.
I know,
and
right?
tastes way too good.
I got just what you need.
That's the end of our hobby show. But we have one more surprise for our audience. The National Geographic STEM series provides high-quality educational toys that are a whole lot of fun. Discover the wonders of geology, history, science, and more. Everyone is taking home their own National Geographic kit. This might be your next hobby. It's good for you. I hope you got inspired on this show. So we all got to see everyone else's hobbies. Is there anything you've seen on the show and you're thinking, I think I want to dabble in that?
I'm looking over there.
What's it called, April? The punch and ting?
Punch needle. It's the punching ting.
Punch and
yeah,
ting.
it's punch needle. It's
Punch
amazing.
needle.
It's very addictive, so I'm warning you.
There you go.
Very addictive.
Tare.
I'm getting a power tool.
Okay, so during commercial break, she used the power tool. We have a new addict.
I'm telling you, it is so fun.
It's good.
I need you
I
to
love
come
it.
over and help me.
Anytime.
Yes.
And I want those glasses. I want that whole segment. I want to be in that segment.
It's not a fashion segment, Terry.
It's like, can I get you glasses?
And can I Christian Pay, Terry, Mary. Thank you. That rhymed. And thank you to our beautiful studio